The tawny owl chicks are nearly ready to fledge the nest, just a month after they hatched. From tiny chicks to confident adolescents, they've grown so much. So let's go back to the start to see just how far they've come. The 2 chicks hatched at the end of May. There's just 3 days between the eldest and youngest. These tawny owl chicks are completely helpless at first. They're tiny, blind and need constant care. Their mother, Bonnie, broods them to keep them warm. They won't be able to regulate their body heat until they're at least 10 to 12 days old. The male owl Aussie soon arrives with a rat for the young owlets. They're going to need a lot of food if they're going to grow into strong young owls. Later that day I watched Bonnie feeding the owlets, which is a real treat. She tears the meal into tiny morsels and then feeds each one individually. Female tawny owls are extremely protective of their young, and especially in the early days. But now the chicks are bigger, she can afford to leave them briefly to take a look outside. This is a brilliant opportunity to get a close look at those chicks in daylight. They're just under a week old, but I can see they're developing fast, starting to sit upright and trying to hold their heads up. And with the chicks continuing to grow, Bonnie can take a bit more time away. Early the next morning I spot her visiting this nearby pond for a dip. Keeping clean for birds is really important to maintain their plumage, loosening dirt and making feathers easier to clean. And after all the time Bonnie spent up in the nest, she deserves a good bath. But when she comes back, I notice she hasn't brought any food. It's been a tough year with a late spring, so prey items have been really hard to come by. Aussie hasn't been back to the nest for a few days, and the chicks just aren't getting enough food. And if the chicks don't eat, they just won't survive. I'm getting worried, so I decide to intervene. I put some food into the nest each day to give them a helping hand. And now the chicks seem to be thriving again. I can see the chicks' plumage is starting to develop. Beneath their fluffy white down, their darker feathers are beginning to grow. And as they get bigger and become more mobile, Bonnie's struggling to brood them, and she just can't keep them underneath her. And the older chick can even swallow its meals whole. The chicks are developing fast, but Bonnie still keeps a close eye on them. And at this age, they no longer need constant brooding to keep warm. Soon, the older chick's eyes begin to open. And shortly after, the younger chick's eyes have opened too. Now at just over 2 weeks, the chicks are practicing standing up on their feet and even begin to stretch their wings. The owlets now have occasional visits from the parents. The male owl Aussie brings in some exotic meals, including this young redstart. And Bonnie comes in to check on the youngsters. But they spend most of the days alone and seem to be forming a close bond and becoming more playful and more active and a bit mischievous too. It's such a pleasure watching these young chicks develop their own personalities. Bonnie is such a caring mother, and with a little help from me, these chicks are well on the way to fledging. thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to see more. Here's a taste of what you'll enjoy seeing on this channel.